On this Veterans Day weekend, our colleague Bill Whitaker of 60 Minutes reminds us it's never too late to honor America's heroes.
This past August, Army Private Sandy Wills was buried with full military honors at a veterans cemetery in Memphis, Tennessee.
Today, we all stand in a free nation because of people like Sandy Wills.
Private Wills served his country, though not in this century or the last. He died in 1889.
Fire! Present arms!
He was originally laid to rest in an unmarked grave on this knoll, a Civil War veteran all but lost to history.
No one knew about Sandy Wills. An enslaved man leaves a plantation, serves during the Civil War with Lincoln's army, and poof, like it never happened.
Cheryl Wills is Sandy's great-great-great-granddaughter. She didn't know of him or her family's long military legacy until she started researching her ancestry.
So what first sparked your interest in genealogy?
A tragedy.
Her father, a New York City firefighter and Vietnam-era veteran, was killed in a motorcycle accident when she was a teenager.
When I sat at his funeral, the one thing that was burned into my heart was when the military honored him. And then they handed my mother a folded flag. And at that moment, I realized my father was special in the eyes of the greatest army in the world.
Like millions of Black Americans, Cheryl's family left the South as part of the Great Migration. Her grandparents moved from Tennessee to New York City.
I'm Cheryl Wills.
For the past 35 years, Cheryl has been telling other people's stories on TV in New York, all the while knowing little of her own.
Walk me through this process. You start off not knowing anything. Did anybody talk about slavery?
No one knew anything. And that was one question I used to ask them. What do you know about slavery? And they would look at me like, what kind of question is that?
Why do you want to know that?
Those who lived through slavery, it was like they had this pact. We're not passing this story down. You don't want to know what it was like. So Sandy's story disappeared from our family.
Combing through census, birth, marriage, and death records, she meticulously traced the roots and branches of her family tree. The earliest ancestor she was able to document? Sandy Wills.
He was bought by Willis Wills when he was 10 years old.
She showed us what she calls the Holy Grail, Sandy Wills' military records. He had volunteered for the colored troops in 1863 and was honorably discharged. He worked as a sharecropper on the Moore plantation after the war, married a woman named Emma. They had 9 children. Records show when he died, but Cheryl could find no trace of where he was buried.
And I'm searching and searching and searching. He was nowhere to be found, essentially MIA.
Her search did lead her to a living relative, Ethan West, a distant cousin also researching his family.
And you did not know you were related until you started doing this ancestry research?
Correct. She was going through finding Sandy, and I've been posting a lot of stuff about my lineage, and our lineages collided.
He's my hero. He physically went down there.
Down there is Brownsville in Haywood County, Tennessee. They both had come across records placing some of their ancestors, including Sandy Wills, on a plantation there, owned by the Moore family.
I just wanted to know what this place that we're reading about looked like. I found the coordinates to where the property would have been.
In 2013, West went driving around Haywood County looking for the plantation and saw this.
There was a sign.
What did the sign say?
Moreland.
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 And you knew the family was the Moore family.
And when he texted me that sign, I went, holy guacamole. And I think both of our lives changed.
This is Moreland, 900 lush acres of cotton, soybeans, and pecan trees. Over the years, Cheryl and Ethan would visit and gradually formed a unique bond with the Moore descendants. Cheryl and Ethan told them of their family's connection to the farm.
I said, I have reason to believe a Civil War veteran is buried on your property.
And the Moores told them something they had hoped to hear, that there's an unmarked African-American burial ground on their farm.
They took me there, and for that I'm eternally grateful because we had no idea it was there. We only had a hunch.
Cheryl hired an archaeology team with experience finding America's missing in action from more recent wars. Of the 38 graves they found here, they zeroed in on one. Its size, date, and fragmentary remains matched every known detail of her ancestor. We were there with the families and local veterans when Private Sandy Wills' remains were placed in a casket.
Rest in peace, our brother. We have the watch.
And solemnly marched from the knoll through green fields to a waiting hearse.
Your family, for generations, kept that African-American cemetery on your property untouched.
We really did.
Edie Moore is the Moore family matriarch.
A farmer would come along and say, oh, if it were me, I would just bulldoze down that clump of trees and plant on top of it. And we said, no, it's hallowed ground and we will never, ever touch it. And my husband, he had daffodils that he planted over the whole cemetery.
And now that you know who was there, does it take on even greater significance?
Well, it definitely does. It adds depth to the whole experience.
After the exhumation, the Moores hosted a picnic at the farm. Two families connected by this land and America's complicated history.
God bless you.
May God bless you too.
This cross now marks Sandy Wills' grave at the West Tennessee State Veterans Cemetery. For Cheryl Wills, it's mission accomplished.
History really meant for him to be anonymous forever. He was a man without a legacy for 135 years.
And now?
And now it's been taken back.